Alright, so we're going to take this bolt out. The one that is basically exposes the other end of that hole so we can get at it. We're going to take that out. And then in with your Motorsport Products, there's one short bolt that you're replacing it with. This allows the threads to be accessed from this side. Alright, so your next step is going to be take your Motorsport Products nerf bar. Now, they say to use their bolts that to replace the ones in the foot peg. I do not like the bolts that they send. The bolts that they send are kind of a universal. And if you look at the thickness difference, this factory one was significantly thicker. So I'm going to utilize that. Now the instructions say to take a pair of vice grips and clamp this on here. You could use many different methods. You could use like one of the quick clamps. You could use a pair of vice grips. Or you could struggle with it like I'm about to do and try to do this while I'm holding a phone all at the same time. I did the other side already, and it was definitely a slight bit of a struggle getting it all to line up and get the nuts on by yourself. See, like that, dropping them. In a second, I'm probably going to drop the other one. So I'm going to tighten this up, get it hand tight so it'll still move, and then I'll restart the video. So now that I've got those hand tight, I took an Allen wrench, loosened up the bolts on the bottom of this. So the way this is going to work is you're going to utilize the thicker and longest of the bolts that come with your Motorsport Products instruction packet. And then this is going to slip over the end. And then this bolt is, and actually on this side it kind of doesn't line up the greatest, but that bolt is going to go into that hole. And you can see it doesn't really line up. So that one was a 12 millimeter from the back. I'm going to take this one off right here. This is a 10. I'm going to take that off and then just bolt it back on when I'm done. Let's see how that works out. Alright, so for a recap, I removed that 10 millimeter that held that in there. I'm going to put this in here and get it started by hand. Something I should note is that I took a blowgun and just, ran some air in there. But what I did when I did the other side was I took this, and it's funny because these two sides aren't exactly the same. The other side, I took it and moved it as low as I could get it, figuring when you step on it, you're going to push it down. But on this side, it's actually going to be up ever so slightly. But let me get that tight in there, and we'll see how that bracket bolts back up. All right, so I did bolt it up. And I did it pretty tight. I was scared of stripping it out because, honestly, it only goes halfway into that threaded piece that comes out by the exhaust port. Then I took the Allen key and tightened it up from the bottom. Instructions do recommend utilizing Loctite. I didn't put Loctite in because I intend on taking these back off. And I'll show you why later on. Now, to see if this actually fits on here. Now, before you couldn't fit the bracket in because it was hitting the fender support. But now you'll see that it does actually line up. So it's just the installation of it as you're doing it. It makes it a little difficult when it's the fender strut or fender support or whatever you want to call it is in place. I'll get this hand tight, and then I'll grab my air ratchet and cinch this in quick.